But since we're talking about rewatching, rereading, whatever, let's get to the Lost rewatch. The Lost rewatch this week, 3 episodes, Enter 77, Par Avion, and The Man from Tallahassee, almost forgot, which was the best episode of the 3, I thought. Enter 77 was pretty good. I really liked it. Saeed episode. I probably would 8.5 to a 9. I think it's, B plus-ish, A minus episode. I really like this one. You start getting a little bit more into the mystery of others and hostiles and all that stuff. You have Mikhail, who's a wonderful little side character for this season. A little, secondary antagonist. I really liked it. Like the guy who plays him, he was in Air Force One. I enjoy this episode. I like Saeed. The flashbacks are Saeed in Paris, and he gets taken by this man who accuses him of torturing his wife when he was part of the Republican Guard in Iraq. And Saeed denies. I can't remember her name. She's in a couple episodes of Curb Your Enthusiasm. She's been in some other things. She is Armenian. I can't remember her name. But she's great in this episode. As the woman, she tells him this great story about this cat. Whenever she was so scarred by what Saeed did to her, she couldn't even leave her home when they moved to Paris because she was so scared. She was so terrified of the outside world because of the torture Saeed threw boiling oil all over her. And she has these scars all over her arms. And she says, she had no reason to go outside. But then she kept seeing this cat outside, and eventually these kids, teenagers, trapped this cat in a box and kept throwing fireworks in it. She's like, then I had a reason to go outside. She saved the cat. And then the cat, from time to time will still scratch or bite her because it remembers being in that box and being so scared. But she forgives it, blah, blah, blah. She forgives it, for those moments. And then she turns it on Saeed and basically, you have to admit this to me, that you did this to me because you did. And eventually Saeed does. He's like, your face is the one that haunts me ever since I've left Iraq. And it's really good. I love Naveen Naveen Andrews. I thought he was fantastic in this episode. I really liked the on island stuff. It was fun, especially the B plot, which is Hurley and Sawyer playing ping pong. I know that doesn't sound wonderful, but it is really good. Hurley kicks his ass, and Sawyer's not allowed to use nicknames for the next few episodes, which is pretty fun. Then, like I said, I thought everybody's good. Locke's great. Locke blows up the station. Enter 77 blows it up. Miss Clue comes back from season 2, and she dies, which I thought was always weird that they chose to kill her. I'm like, she felt like she had more importance than just to be shot and killed by Mikhail. But like I said, I thought it was a really good episode. 8.5 to a 9. Fun B plot. I thought the flashback stuff was really good. On Island, the main plot was good. I always remember the blooper when Saeed's talking about how they're not alone. Like they're not alone with Mikhail, and looks like I've checked every nook and cranny. And Saeed lifts this rug, and there's a trapdoor. He's like, not every nook and cranny, John. There's a blooper of Naveen really going over the top, and like, not every nook and cranny, John. And I don't know, that always cracked me up. Also, at the end of this episode, is it end of this one or is it the end of the next one? It's the end of the next one. The next episode is Par Avion. I'm probably not saying it right because I'm not smart. Claire episode. On Island, good. It's very good on Island. Off Island, meh. Claire is never that compelling. Off Island. Like, it's just, she's pregnant. That's kind of the story. This one, she's goth, and she's responsible for her mom being in a coma. You get the confirmation that her and Jack are technically half brother and sister. Though that's never, I think that's only ever brought up to Jack. It's never explained, like explained between the two of them. I don't think they ever address it between the two, so it's kind of like this useless mystery. But it's kind of fun to see Christian. I can't remember the actor's name who plays Christian, but it's always good to see him in the show. It's all about Claire sees some birds, and she's like, oh, they've got tags on them. So we can, write a message, because that means scientists will read these messages, or will see it, because, these are tagged birds for research. They'll see them, and then they can get rescued. And this coincides with Desmond seeing Charlie die again and trying to stop him makes Charlie not want to be a part of this plan, causes some friction, and then at the end, Desmond saves one of the birds for her, and then she tells him about how over there in those rocks, Charlie fell in the water, and, he was pushed up against rocks, it broke his neck, and that's where Charlie died. So he explains to her why Charlie wasn't interested in doing this plan with her. It's because it was going to kill him. And it's nice. It's fine. It's fun. It's all right. Not much to it. The other stuff with Mikhail, you had the sonar fences, Locke being a dick, like just doing whatever he feels like. You got Russo there doing stuff. They throw Mikhail through the fence. And I forgot, I never noticed how violent that death is. And I put death in quotation marks. We'll get to that point with the never-ending deaths of Mikhail here in a little bit, in a few weeks. But he throws the sonar fence, is basically just blasting his brain. And, he starts frothing at the mouth. And then as, it's like the camera's panning around him, blood is squirting. Blood is literally squirting out of his ears. It is super violent for, like I said, mid-2000s ABC. This is like 2007 ABC. Blood is squirting out of his ears. It's pretty intense. I'm like, holy shit. And then, yeah, the ending of this episode is them coming up on the other's little village, the barracks. And we got Football Jack, where Jack seems to be running straight to him, but then he turns around, catches the football. He throws it back to Tom. Tom throws it again. He goes to spike it, and he gives it... Oh, it's one of those weird endings. What was the other part in this one? Oh, there was something where they did the big cliffhanger music, but it wasn't a cliffhanger at all. What was it? Oh, shit. I watched it this morning. How do I forget it already? Oh, it happened. It definitely happened in this episode. It swells the music, and it's like, oh my god. And it's like, oh, I think it was whenever Desmond explains to Claire that Charlie died. That's where Charlie died. And it's like, we know that. Claire's just like, what? And it has the big music swell. It was called the Lost Haters on the message boards, the gay ass trombone, as inappropriate that is. I still find that phrase funny, the gay ass trombone. That's what that sound is. I'm like, it's weird to put it there. It's not like that shocks us at all because we already knew that's what Desmond's doing. It was so, I don't know, it was just kind of weirdly out of place because, like I said, we understand as an audience what's going on. Maybe the characters don't, but that is a audio cue for you to be like, oh wow, being shocked. It was just oddly placed. I'd give this episode probably it's like a C plus B minus. The stuff on Island's great. The stuff off Island is whatever. The cop in this episode in the flashback is a total dick. It's weird how much of a dick he is. Claire's in an accident, her mom gets thrown from the car, and he's asking her all these questions. Her mom's in surgery. She's not dead yet. And she doesn't die. She ends up being brain dead, basically. But she's not dead. And the cop's like, well, we have to ask these questions when there's a fatality to the daughter who was in the accident with the mom. And he's like, my mom's in surgery. And the cop's just like, right. What a fucking dick. He's such a dickhead for no reason. No reason. You're a cop. I understand you have to be a dickhead sometimes, but whatever. This is a obviously grieving teenager who was in a car accident with her mom and was driving, so she's already feeling incredibly guilty about the whole freaking thing, and you're just piling it on. It's like, right, yeah, we'll see. Well, I'm out of here. So, good luck with your dead-ass mom. Dickhead. And then you had the aunt who was I wanted to slap her too. Jesus. She was Claire goes home and takes a shower. Well, I'm so glad you can get yourself feeling fresh. I'm like, once again, do you think anybody in the world feels worse than Claire right now? I don't know. Part of it is Claire talks about at the end when she's pregnant, she's talking to her mom, she breaks down, she apologizes for being so bad, so mean, how she wished her mom wasn't her mom and all this stuff and crying. It's the best Emily D. Ravine ever really does on this show because she was never great on this show in terms of her ability to act. But it was solid. I thought it was a good ending. So the episode's just little more middling because you got to transition from the Pearl Station with Mikhail to getting to the barracks, and you have to do something else. It's just it never goes anywhere as well because you never hear anything about those birds again. It's not like that's how they get found or something like that. It's just something for people to do. I do like the Charlie voiceover as he writes, we've been on the island, I think like 100 days and blah, 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 and all that. Some of us have, died, blah. Some of us have, this and that. And I think it's a nice little note, nice little moment. I always like Giacchino theme for Claire. It's always good. The music, like I said, is good. Shocking. And then, third episode was The Man from Tallahassee, which I thought was the strongest of the three. This is where we learn how Locke gets paralyzed, and it is brutal. Jesus. Man. I kind of forgot how, depressed Locke was in the flashbacks. He looks so rough in these flashbacks. Like the bags under his eyes, the 5 o'clock shadow. He's got almost like he's got eczema going on in his head and stuff like that. He's got scabs. He's just depressed and horrible. And this guy comes and meets him, and his mom's dating Locke's dad, and he thinks that it's going to be he's going to there's some nefarious things going on. And Locke's like, well, it was an anonymous kidney donation. And yeah, it's all about, Locke just can't let go of his anger. He wants that power. He wants to be able to take control and have the power. He's always been powerless his entire life. He was a foster kid. He never had the power in that. He never got the girl. He never became anything. He's always just had this meandering, sad, pathetic little life, as he himself describes it. And I believe question mark with echo. So this is a moment for him to have power, to take control, to be the one who has the power over somebody. And he can do it to his father, who stole the kidney from him. You're going to leave her, and you're not going to steal from her. You're out. You're getting the fuck out of here, or I'll tell her everything. Blah, blah. He's got it, yeah, he's got her. And then his dad probably kills the son. He goes to meet him at the hotel that his dad's staying at, and he's like, I'm just trying to get a little bit from me, and I'll get out. I swear, she called off the whole wedding, and he's like, oh, so if I call her, that she'll say that. It's like, yep, phone's right over there. And then he goes to pick up the phone. He goes to say something, and his dad runs into him right out a window, falls I think it's 8. If I'm thinking 8 flights of step or 8 stories. Right on his back, and then he's right in the hospital. He gets put in the wheelchair, and he cries. Terry O'Quinn's so good. He's so great as Locke. Oh, man. We get a little bit more football Jack on island. And then we have, I like the moment of, Kate coming into the house, and Jack's just playing piano. And she's just kind of watching him. And he turns on Caesar, and she's like, hey. And I don't know, I like that moment. And he tells her to get out because they're watching him. There's cameras, and they come busting in. They got Saeed. You've got Locke confronting Ben being a dick. I love Ben. Michael Emerson's so wonderful in this show. So wonderful. He's going to use his daughter to go get Saeed's pack because Saeed's got the explosives. And he's like, go get it. He's like, well, just so you know, John, my daughter currently hates me, so it's not going to work as well. It's just so dickish. It's great. And then they're in the closet. They're hiding. He tells Richard to get the man from Tallahassee. And he walks away, and he's like, what was that code? And he's like, no, John, we don't have a code for my daughter's being held hostage in the closet. But I think it's maybe we should revise that, though. It's just so good. It's so good. Michael Emerson's so great. It's so great. Just the way he delivers so many different lines. Locke's plan is that he hates the others because they do not appreciate what the island truly is, because they can come and go as they please on the submarine. They have connection with the outside world. They have, refrigerators. They have running water, showers. They have all these things. When this island can give you everything, and Ben gives him shit, and he's like, well, he's like, how do you think you know this island better than I do? I've been here my entire life. And then Locke's like, because you're in the wheelchair and I'm not. It's a fucking dagger. to Ben, because Ben is so upset that he's devoted his life to the island, but he got sick. But nobody gets sick on the island. But, they fixed him, but he's still in the wheelchair. Why? Because Locke immediately was out of his wheelchair. He'd been paralyzed his entire life. Or not his entire life, for years. He'd been paralyzed for years, but he immediately got his ability back. Why does it take us so long for me? So, Ben is having this kind of crisis of faith in the island. And there's Locke stabbing him and twisting the knife on him on it. Oh, it's good. It's good stuff. Then Locke blows up the submarine, and they already said the submarine could leave, but it was never going to be able to come back because of the incident with the hatch. And it was right before old Juliet and Jack were about to leave, so there's more issues between Jack and Locke. And we get the great ending of, we get to find out what the man from Tallahassee truly is, and it is Locke's father, who's been brought to the island by Richard or by Jacob or by whoever. I'm trying to think. Yeah, and you just get that dad, and then lost. And I forgot there's also the mention of lists. There was a mention of lists during the Hydra arc. There's another mention by Mikhail on lists, talking about how Kate was never on the list. And you're like, what are you talking about? And they mentioned Ben, and he's like, oh, no, Ben's a nobody, bud. And he starts saying, he's like, I can't remember what he said about Kate, but he's like, you're too angry when he looks at Locke. And he's like, how can I know any of you? He's like, Saeed Jarrah, Kate Austin, and he's like, John Locke. The John Locke I knew, and he's about to say paralyzed, and that's when they find the sonar fence thing in Avion. I would give Man from Tallahassee a 9 out of 10. It's a really good episode. John Locke is such a compelling character in these first 3 seasons. They kind of do him dirty in season 5 and 6 overall, but in these probably first 3, I haven't watched season 4 in a long time, but these first 3 seasons, Locke is such a compelling character. He's such a great person to kind of go with. Yeah, so this is the Lost Rewatch. That should be wrapping that up. Let's see. Next 3 episodes are Expose, Nikki and Follow, Left Behind, and One of Them. Or One of Us. Yeah, One of Us. Right? I think those are the next 3 episodes. Right? Didn't we do this last week? I know it's Expose. I know Expose is right after Locke blows up the submarine. How right am I? Expose, Left Behind, and One of Us. All right. I'm trying to remember which one's which. Which one is Left Behind? Is Left Behind a Kate episode? Left Behind might be a Kate episode, and I think One of Us is Juliet. Yeah, that's what I'm going to go with. I'll see how wrong I am next time. Maybe Left Behind is Sun and Jen or something. I don't know. Whatever, ladies and gentlemen, that's the Lost Rewatch. What a great show this show is. I am so happy that I'm following through on this. Should have those 3 episodes for you next week. Yeah. Cool stuff. I believe that's everything I've got tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like what you heard, spread the good word. Once again, Jennifer Love Hewitt, if you can remind me of why I had you written down, that'd be also wonderful. Reach out. I'm available all the time. Anyways, if you like what you heard, spread the good word. Anywhere podcasts are available. If you want to be on the show, let me know. If you've got questions or answers, you let me know. monster.ate.the.pilot, the show at gmail.com. There is periods between each word on that email. I have not checked it this week, so if you've sent me something there, I have not read it. Look for me at the Blue Jackets game tomorrow, and I'll be back Thursday. Should be this Thursday with the Karaoke Chris episode. And if Karaoke Chris is a horrible person, if he's a horrible person, which, like I said, 50-50, 50-50, I could have the Nick Baxter episode instead. So, yeah, it should be a good week. We're going to have a lot of Monster ate the Pilot stuff this week, I think. Maybe not. You never know. Anyways, I'm going to let you go, guys. Have a great rest of your night. Thank you so much for listening, understanding all the fun stuff. Anywhere podcasts are available. Am I forgetting anything? Wear your underwear. Check your underwear. Make sure it's clean underwear. I don't know. That's a new thing. See you later. Have a great night. Peace out, Girl Scout. What's it all about?